It's great to see so many friends. Great to see Norm Whittaker, who's been responsible for the DARPA Grand Challenge, and so many colleagues of mine, Jeanette, Peter, and many others. These days I work a lot with the Google founders, and it was great to see their picture up earlier when they were high school kids. They're amazingly creative thinkers, Larry and Sergey, and I'm learning a lot from them. And one of the things I'm learning is how to solve really big problems in society. So the problem I'm working on doing my day job is to make traffic safer and transform mobility. I have a personal relationship with this. Last year, I lost my head admin at Stanford in a traffic accident. She was on her way to get us breakfast in the morning, and she was hit by someone running a red light at 55 miles per hour and dead 2 weeks later. And I'm sure it's a fate that I, as her friend and boss, share with many of you who've lost loved ones in traffic. I got into the issue of self-driving cars a little bit by accident, thanks to Norm, who's responsible for this, and DARPA, in 2004. And here's a short video, oops, which hopefully plays. How do we make this play? No video. Oh, it's moving. It's just not on my screen. You might have heard about the DARPA Grand Challenges that started in 2003. It was a great series of events. The task was to build a robot that could drive itself 140 miles through unrehearsed, punishing desert terrain. First competition, Carnegie Mellon University did best, but only did about 5% of the 140-mile course. Second competition, Stanford did a little bit better, winning us the $2 million check. The robot is actually parked here in the Museum of American History, and it's going to move to the Space Museum very soon. And then we moved to Google, recruited Carnegie Mellon's leader, who since won the Urban Challenge, and built a team of experts, very young experts, non-automotive experts, to turn the car into a computing device. And we launched a series of experiments by which these cars were able to drive pretty much undetected in traffic for now more than 200,000 miles, mostly accident-free. We have no computer-caused accident yet, but several human-caused accidents. And do so pretty much anywhere a car can drive. Highways, small downtowns, mountainous roads with oncoming traffic, day and night, all kinds of obstacles, and even places like crooked Lombard Street in San Francisco. We're driving. This is a slight fast forward, I should say. It's not the speed that we're normally going. And on top of it, we taught the car all kinds of stunts, including sideways parking, which is a great way to park a car. It's not a good way to unpark your car, turns out. So be careful. The reason why we do this is multifold. We all know that traffic consumes a significant fraction of our daily time. For the American worker, it's about an hour, just below an hour. And most of us commute by cars. So this is an hour of productivity lost, in my books, that we could regain if you could free ourselves from the necessity to stare at the same pavement over and over again. We all know that cars and traffic is the #1 killer of young people, age 4 to about 40 in this country. And it's something we don't talk much about, but I think is really important to memorize. If a plane comes down with 300 people, if a prison burns up with 360 people dead, that's a big event because it happens on one day. But every day we lose many, many more people in traffic. It's actually more than 1 million people worldwide just through traffic accidents. Now, there's other perspectives that excite me that have to do with mobility in general in this field. This nation is heavily investing in high-speed rail. And what high-speed rail provides you from a engineer's perspective is a guidance system. it maintains the vehicle in its railway line, on its track. Okay? We are investing, or we're planning to invest hundreds of billions of dollars building a new infrastructure on high-speed rail in various places, including California. The self-driving car solves exactly the same problem using a computer chip that costs less than $1 on existing infrastructure. So we solve the problem of to precision guide a car on a highway just the same way the physical rail solves the problem of maintaining the track of a train. But the only difference is we already have existing infrastructure we can use, $0 necessary for infrastructure investments, and you can deploy it pretty much right now. It's a miracle to me why we put money into infrastructure that has a 19th century flavor as we move into the 21st century in this country. It turns out highways are vastly underutilized. We all know that they get more and more clogged, and we all suffer from more and more congestion. I know in DC this is something you're all painfully aware of in the Beltway. In fact, the miles driven go up about 3% per year in this nation. And there hasn't been any significant highway construction since the 50s and 60s to remedy this. But what few people know is that even a full highway is effectively empty. That is, if you were to take a picture from the air and looked at a highway at peak capacity when it has the highest performance, you'll find that only 8% or 6% of the road surface is actually occupied by cars. And 94% is the space between cars. We need this because we are lousy drivers. We need lanes that are twice as wide as our vehicles. We need immense distances between cars. So if you build a technology that could remedy this and have cars drive under computer control, say hypothetically, you double or half the distance between cars, so you double the occupancy. So you're still 84, 86% empty, but you just double the capacity of the highway system. There's a multiples in ability to use our highway system more efficiently by giving up human driving and replacing it by what we've done in every other industry in this world with smart computers. Finally, I want to point out how car ownership has really negatively affected our cities. And as we're moving into the 21st century, I believe that we should do a much better job managing our cities. Cars are being used about 3% of their lifetime. Let's see, who here owns a car? All right. Okay, everybody. What's your car doing right now? It's pretty irresponsible, isn't it? So it's actually using up parking spaces. There's about 3 times as many parking spaces as cars in this nation. And you know about the difficulty of and the cost of this. 60% of the Los Angeles landmass is dedicated to cars. If we were to use self-driving technology, we could make cars much more shareable. And it's easy to imagine a future where we need half or maybe just 10% as many cars as we use today. It would be really transformational for all of us. That's the reason why we invest in this. I want to use the last 4 minutes of my talk to talk about something entirely different, which I got very excited about, which is my night job. And again, it's an attempt to do something big, which I stepped in by accident, which has to do with my primary profession as an educator. And it was hinted at the introduction that I'm actually trying to establish a new university model at this point. So here's the name of our new university model. We launched it very recently. And the way I stepped into this is that I always felt that my class at Stanford that I teach with Peter Norvig was kind of only frequented by too few students, only 200 students. And I always wanted to have more impact with my education. So I sent one email, let me just show the email, to a list of about 1,000 people. And that email went viral last summer. And here's some highlights from the email. We promised that we would take our AI class that I teach at Stanford every year public and offered it free of charge. And we promised that students are graded the same way we grade Stanford students, so they compare themselves to Stanford students. We expected about 500 students to sign up, maybe 600. And in no time, 160,000 students signed up. which was a little bit frightening because I've never graded 160,000 students before. I had no clue how many TAs would ever take. So we actually shut down registration at this point, and then we digitized our class, and we really worked hard to fundamentally alter the educational model away from lecture classes, where you record a professor, to a very interactive model, where everything is quiz-driven, where you engage the student by a dialogue that is pre-canned but still feels very realistic, of asking questions and engaging them in a dialogue. We got students from all countries in the world except for North Korea. We had more students in Lithuania than in all of Stanford. We had a volunteer army of almost 2,000 volunteer translators that translated the content into 44 languages. I received thousands of heartbreaking emails that are just a delight to read, reaching people that higher education of the caliber we teach at Stanford has never reached before. And I'm just going to quote you one, because there's only 1 minute left. This is an email I received in the middle of a class from a guy in Afghanistan, and I'm going to just highlight a segment of it and see if I can read it. I can't. Read this way. I'm completing the course from a remote area of Afghanistan and often don't have great internet connectivity or electricity or internet connections that don't block YouTube. I spent the last few days under incoming mortar and rocket attacks, then dodging checkpoints under questionable legal status to exfiltrate a war zone to a third world airfield until things settled down. I had about an hour of fairly solid internet connectivity to be able to get the assignments done and still managed to get a respectable score. This is a typical week out of here. There's an opportunity with the Stanford spin-out to really reach the entire world with education. When people talk about resources, I'm sure the Honorable Al Gore will tell us about climate and energy and fresh water and other things. I think the number one resource we all have is people. It's us. Yet 99% of us have no access to high-quality education. We offer this education for free of charge to anybody in the world. And we're really excited about seeing if a democratized education can fundamentally alter basically every country and every young person in this world. I guess my time is up. Thank you very much.
I think we have time for one question.
What's your sense about how soon we'll be able to see some of those self-driving cars in practice? It looks like you've addressed a lot of the technical issues. I imagine there remains some legal and other issues that are barriers. Do you have a time frame?
The main problem still remains technical, turns out. Just yesterday, the state of Nevada has become the first state in the nation to have a full legislative and regulatory framework that regulates self-driving cars on the streets of Nevada. You wouldn't think of Nevada as the most innovative state, but in this case, it's actually the most innovative state in the nation.
But they gamble a lot.
They gamble a lot. They have legal prostitution. Various other states are currently considering legislation that follows the Nevada model. We're working with the Department of Transportation. It turns out the legal challenges are not as profound as people think they are. I think that what's really important is safety. So making them really, really safe. And it's a technical challenge to get them to the point where they can be 100% safe. And I wouldn't claim we've solved this problem, so I can't give you a specific date by which these cars will be available. But sooner than you think.
All right, thanks for your time.